Hey, Steve Zook here. Welcome back to Polkzoo channel and the Guitar Letter System. Hey, I've got, just to be really honest with everybody out there, I spent a lot of time, these videos are not easy to do, especially the last three that I did. And I spent a lot of time sometimes, people ask for a sample of my Guitar Letter System. I spent a lot of time sending out samples and explaining it and everything. And it just doesn't pay off. People tend to just kind of shine it on, and I put way too much work into this thing to do that. I just can't waste a bunch of time sending out samples. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to offer three samples. This is a good deal for $14.99. Three samples of the Guitar Letter System. You can just PayPal to stevezook7@yahoo.com. I'm not trying to brag, but I've had people drive over 200 miles to take lessons from me for $100 an hour. My CDs reviewed at Vintage Guitar Magazine. Go to vintageguitar.com, put in Steve Zooks. This is not an ego trip. Music and guitar go way deeper than anybody out there could probably imagine with me, and probably with you too. So it's a labor of love and a labor of joy, and it's really about self-exploration and getting in touch with the universe and the idea of Steve Zook in the one mind. That's a big subject. I believe we're all ideas in the one mind. I better not get into that. I'll be talking forever. But anyway, so I'll send like a good one would be cycle 1, cycle 2, and maybe cycle 77, which is a single note study, my famous waterfall study. Or I could do cycle 1, 2, and like the inversion sheet, you know, $14.99, STEVEZOOK, the number 7, now spelled out at yahoo.com, or send me an email and I'll send you an invoice. Anyway, the last three videos I did, I put a lot of thought into it. I hope you guys appreciate it. I have been getting some night, but I don't do this as an ego trip. I don't do this so people can tell me how anything. I'm just trying to share some really good information, and my Guitar Ladder System is really about self-exploration and getting to know your own musical ideas and creating neural pathways through my studies, so your own subconscious mind can begin to piece things together, so you can have some tremendous growth way beyond what would be normal growth. Anyway, I want to talk about inversions, major 7 inversions. And my sheet for the inversions, if you want just that sheet, just send me like $249. I'll send you just that if the $14.99 is, and I'm not saying this as a joke either. I know times can be tough right now, and we're going through a lot of crazy shit right now. We're all a little nervous about the coronavirus, right? You know, I know myself personally, I've cut back on a lot of stuff. I love going to the gym. I go every other day. I used to be a ring man, so going to the gym and working out, it makes me feel so great. I've made some good friends there too. Just people I kind of, talk to while I'm there, which I get a lot out of because I'm kind of a loner. I'm weird. I love people, but I'm kind of a loner. I know, strange. I don't go to Del Taco anymore. I'm not going to the gym for a couple weeks. I'm not going out to eat hardly at all. I'm mostly eating at home, just doing what I can. But I guess the mortality rate is only like 3.4, 3.5 or something for people in my age group. But I think we're all a little nervous about it. But let's all try to join together in positive faith. And anyway, so the inversions. If you want just the inversion sheet, send me $249. Steve Zook, the number 7, not spelled out, at yahoo.com. Or if you don't, if you need me to send you a PayPal invoice, I can do that. Just email. Anyway, so the inversion sheet has inversions on this set of strings, 6. It has inversions on the middle set of strings, the bottom set, and then it has inversions on the A string and the bottom 3. But working inversions is really good for you. I'd almost like to include it in my ideas of my 10 systems of improvisation, which is kind of getting beyond 10. But the way to work inversions is once you get to work them out, play them 1 chord at a time like this, and form the shape of the chord in the air before you get there. So notice I'm doing this one, okay, and then I'm gonna form the shape of the next one in the air. See, I'm already doing it. See that? Already doing it. Already. So you learn to memorize that shape, and the minute I'm off of this root position chord, which then I'm already getting into that shape of the next one. That's the way you want to practice the inversions. One way. Okay. This one's high tension. It demands resolution, you know. So you do the inversions, play each, and once you get used to them, you know, play it one chord one time and form the shape in the air before you get there. Okay, that's the best, and then come down the other way. Another great way to work the inversions is travel up to the next inversion any way you can think of. Here I might use some of the ideas in cycle 1 in the guitar ladder system, which has a minor, kind of diminished minor thing. Anyway, so you might want to do something like that. Major 7, diminished, minor, diminished. See, that way I traveled from the first inversion to the second inversion with a little bit of chordal movement. You don't have to analyze this. You can do it different every time if you want, you know. But that's a really good thing to do. Then, like, say, and I've never done this, so this might sound terrible. I don't care. That's part of practicing, is making mistakes. So going from there to here, and I haven't rehearsed it, I might go to that chord, you know, the major 13 flat 5 sound, dominant 7 sharp 5, minor 7. Again, it's not so much about how great it sounds as it is that you're exploring your instrument. You're building new neural pathways. You're building your ear. That's why Wes Montgomery was so great. Wes Montgomery didn't clog his head with a bunch of bullshit and theory and stuff, but he knew, you know, he knew what a major 7 was. He knew, you know, what the color of altering chords was. He knew chord connection principles on a very intuitive ear training level. So I'm not saying theory is not good, but it can also be like a fly stuck in honey. It can, you know, it's you really want to do ear training. So anyway, so I was here, and then I've never tried this. So and that was just off the top of my head. Again, it's not so much about how great it sounds as it is exploring, because I'll tell you right now, my subconscious mind's already working on some other ways to go to this second inversion, to the third, second inversion to the third inversion. My subconscious mind is already starting to think maybe of ways. And again, it's not so much about how great it sounds as it is that you're exploring, because when you're exploring, even when you're not playing your guitar, your subconscious mind is asking questions and giving answers. So, but anyway, like I said, if you're a little low on money and $14.99, and I'm not making a joke, by the way, life's expensive. I live in California, and Huntington Beach is really expensive. But if you want, I tell you what, I'll even make it 3 studies and throw in the inversion sheet for $14.99. If you want to get a killer deal, that's four studies for $14.99 is a great situation and a video. Anyway, so the way to work the inversions, that's first inversion, third in the bass, second inversion, fifth in the bass, third inversion, seventh in the bass, octave 1. And you want to try to get the whole chord. And again, this is not something, I might mess around with this later just to kind of come up with some things. It's a little easier for me coming up with, you know, ways to get from the... Anyway, and then it's a little tricky on this one. But again, it's not so much about... I think a lot of times people worry too much about sounding great when it's about exploring, but that's what's so great about my guitar ladder system. You get 200 studies that do sound great and are very musical and make a lot of sense, but my guitar ladder system, I don't marry one form of improvisation, because that's the kiss of death right there. If you're just doing one form of improvisation, or you're married to diatonic harmony, you're going to sound boring as hell. You're going to sound really stiff. So, by the way, some guy called me today, a nice guy, asking about the Oscar Schmidts. Yeah, if you can find a good Oscar Schmidt, it's probably one of the best values in a nice big jazz Archtop. You just want to make sure all the notes ring out. Make sure and ask questions like, do all the notes ring out? Are there any frets that buzz? Any high frets? It doesn't have to be perfect, but just make sure and ask if all the notes ring out and the neck is not severely bowed, it's not really severely twisted, something like that. So if you can find one like this that has no center seam and no back seam, this thing sounds incredible. But anyway, so that's how you want to work the inversions. Like this. then also practice connecting the inversions. And then, see there, I just connected them with a couple chords. You don't have to have a bunch of chords. I could be going from this first inversion, major 7 with the 3rd in the bass, come into the major 7, the major 13, flat 9. Maybe then go to 7 sharp 5, minor 7, diminish, dominant 11 7, and then go into the second inversion, major 7, which is a high tension. The higher tension the chord, the more it demands resolution. See, this chord just begs to be resolved, right? Whereas like this form, you can sit here all day. So it's interesting, you know. That's why certain inversions, like when you're on this set of strings, you know, the A and the bottom 3, like this inversion here works real nice for something like that, a little contrary motion. So I'm going to keep this video a little shorter. But yeah, if you need a great jazz guitar and you don't want to spend a lot of money, I found these Oscar Schmidts, which are made by Washburn, are really close to even a good J6 or a J6S, which is a really good guitar too. But like I said a million times, folks, the great guitars are few and far between. You know, you have to take every guitar, the same brand, the same make, the same model on a guitar by guitar basis. I've had a lot of Oscar Schmidts. I think it's OE40, whatever. This is the best one I've had, though. It's got, like I said, it's one big 17-inch wide piece of wood, which is from a pretty old tree to get that wide, and no center seam in the front, no center seam in the back. So that might be something for you to look for. But even if you're not sure about that, just when you're shopping for one of these, I mean, they're very musical sounding. They have a lot. I've had lots of different guitars. Epiphone, Joe. I'm an Archtop expert. That is my field of expertise. What's my field that's not? I'm not a field of expertise. Probably Fender. I'm probably the weakest area. Most guys would never admit that. But I know a great guitar when I see it, and but that's just not, you know. But I've spent a lot of time and a lot of money becoming an expert on Archtops. But anyway, the main questions to ask when getting any guitar, really, but since we're talking Archtops here, just ask if all the notes ring out and no buzzing notes, no high frets. You know, the action's decent. There's no severe bowing in the neck. You know, no twisting. All the electronics work. You know, I personally could give a shit if a guitar is a little rough as long as it plays decently. And again, setup is very subjective. You know, you can't buy a guitar and expect it to play perfectly all the time. As long as it doesn't take major stuff to dial it in, like a $300 fret job or whatever, you know. But a guitar should play decently, but just understand it may not be exactly how you want it, so you can't be super picky like buying a new car. But anyway, so that's the inversions. If you want just the inversions, $249. PayPal to Steve Zook 7, the number 7, not spelled out, yahoo.com. If you need me to send you an invoice, then you can pay it, even if you're not a member of PayPal. $249 for the inversion sheet. It's got 4 different sets of inversions on it on 4 different sets of strings. If you want to get the 3 studies and the inversion sheet, so that's 4 studies, I'll do $14.99. It's a killer price. You know, that way you kind of get, and I'll even deduct that from the guitar ladder system if you just decide to invest in my system for $199. I'll deduct that $14.99. This is a labor of love, folks. I've got over 30 years into this guitar ladder system. It really works because the studies are very musical and they teach you about the 10, 11, 12 systems of improvisation, but more importantly than that, it's ear training, it's building new neural pathways, it's getting, you know, seeding, like planting a seed in good soil. You're seeding your subconscious mind. That's where the tremendous growth comes, and it uses the science of neuroplasticity, although I never even thought about that when I came up with the system. But I have been doing transcendental meditation for 37 years. I'm really into consciousness development. I believe the entire universe is music. Everything is an interval oscillating at a certain frequency. Call it frequency domain if you want to. Everything is alive and has a rhythm and is oscillating at a certain vibration and a certain frequency. I could get off into this rap very, very deeply. But bottom line, we're spiritual beings having a human experience unfolding in time, and we're an idea in the one mind. But music You know, music will help you calibrate your soul. Music will make you happy, and taking guitar and exploring guitar seriously while still having fun and creating more joy is really the best high on the planet, because you'll begin to discover your own musical ideas and begin to create. If you want to hear some of my music, go to stevezook1.bandcamp.com. That's Steve Zook, the number one, not spelled out, and then a dot, you know, not D-O-T, just a dot. Steve Zook, the number one, .bandcamp.com. If you want to read the review of my CD by the great writer, guitar collector, educator, really smart, cool guy, Stephen Stone, who's bought a few guitars from me, go to vintageguitar.com, put in Steve Zook. Folks, guitar music is my freaking life. It really is. Anyway, I know I talk a lot. I'm very, very verbal. But yeah, inversions are really good to know, and then you learn how to resolve them and everything. So, and like I said, if you're looking for a great, I really don't want to sell this one. If I did sell it, I'd probably be around $675, because I'm a little suspicious it could even be a solid top, because when of course that's an area where everybody seems to bullshit everybody, but I feel under here and it feels kind of rough, not real smooth. It could just be really thick layers of real wood. Some laminate guitars aren't the super thin laminate like in plywood. They're actually, you know, much thicker layers put together, which would explain why it's heavier, but there's no center seam on the front or the back. This guitar sounds amazing. But yeah, if you need a great jazz guitar and you love the 17-inch ones like I do, you can't go wrong with an Oscar Schmidt. 4 chords. 4 chords are great. I've been playing a lot of nylon string lately, so I'm a little off right now for the feel. When I get here, I'm kind of stumbling a little bit, because I've been playing a ton of nylon string in the flamenco tuning, you know. But I'm trying to get back to sharing information. Actually, my traffic's up 10,000, another 10,000 hits a month. And by the way, I'm looking for somebody to help me sell advertising. There's over 2,000 videos, over 50,000 meta tags and keywords. There's a lot of great exposure on my channel, even though I don't have, you know, hundreds and thousands of subscribers. A lot of, you know, I think I'm getting somewhere around 1,000 hours watch time a month. Some videos have 170,000 on them. I'm looking for somebody to help me sell advertising on it. I'll give you 40% of what you bring in. There's no guaranteed money, but 40% is a pretty big chunk. I'm also looking for somebody to take some of my studies and put them into kind of a nice, neater typeset thing, because some of my studies are typeset and some are kind of handwritten. But anyway, yeah, this second inversion, major 7, is really has a lot of tension. Really wants to resolve. Anyway, okay, so enjoy that. If you want just the inversion sheet, $249, PayPal it to Steve Zook, the number 7, not spelled out, yahoo.com, or send me an email at the same email, and I'll send you an invoice. You do not have to be a member of PayPal to do it. If you want to take me up on the 3 study, actually it's 4, because I'll send you 3 studies. This is a great situation if you want to just get your feet wet and get a little taste of the guitar ladder system without committing a couple $100. I get it, you know. I'll do 3 guitar ladder system studies and the inversion sheet for $14.99. That's a killer deal. And we all want a good deal. I'm so sick of that word. I have to laugh anyway. But anyway, let's all try to stay positive. I've got a lot going on in my life right now. You have no idea. But I'm just trying to keep the positive faith. No, I'm not a Christian. If you are, congratulations. I respect everybody's religious beliefs. I just believe in being a good person and positive faith and tithing and vibrating positive frequency and helping the planet and the universe by fine-tuning my soul to the best frequency and radiating joy. So I'm just speaking from the heart. So anyway, folks, we're all one. I wish more people on the planet realized that, but I could get off on that rap. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.